Haywo here. A Boros and Yawgmoth Will here, both of them. A Boros conceded as soon as I played a turn 1 Shredder. Yawgmoth Will here, I Inquisitioned and saw a Viscera Seer, Gravecrawler, Bridge from Below. I picked out the Viscera Seer. I had Abrupt Decay for the other Viscera Seer, and the opponent really just like walked away from the computer and timed out pretty much. So it is an iffy hand. I'm still not quite sure about how I should, I'm still learning correct mulligan strategies. I am mulliganing more often, but this is, like a week ago or so now. But I decided to keep because I had natural combo and I had stirrings. So I figured it was safe. If need be, I can stirrings into a land to play those duresses. And if I can end up doing that and playing out my hand, I pretty much win. It's either my opponent played a turn 1 stirrings off a force and I'm like, oh man, it's a Lantern Mirror. It is not. And instead my opponent got an Ulamog, so I was super worried about that. I was like, okay, well, I gotta keep my opponent off of lands now because Ulamog will shut me down. And that or I gotta get 2 spell skites. Oh, what am I doing? Turns out my opponent is playing like Ulamog ramp, pretty much. Need a bridge and another spell skite, and I need to keep my opponent off the land. So I had no targets for that Inquisition, unfortunately. But I mean, really, if I get a bridge and another spell skite, I'm golden. But that Endless one got big real quick. So I play out spell skite just to chump block. I take the hits that I can. Still trying to dig as quickly as I can. So I have to get a bridge here. And here it comes. And no bridge. So I'm like digging like crazy. So that's like what? How many cards in the graveyard? 15? 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Almost halfway through my deck. No bridge out of the 4. It happens, I guess. So, anyways, let's see. Game 2. Oh, come on now. There we go. So now that I know what my opponent's playing. Of course, I keep, because I got the 2 spell skites that I know that I need. And I have half the lock. You see my opponent here had Oblivion Silver, Force, Nissa, Elvish Visionary, Force, and Ulamog. So again, I know I need to keep my opponent off of lands. Or off enough lands to play Ulamog until I can get down both spell skites and multiple bridges to shut down the Ulamog. Because Ulamog is really my only threat in here once I get a bridge down. Yeah, really good draw there for my opponent, that Ancient Stirrings, after I just duressed the other one. So I want to go ahead and get a good look at what my opponent's got. I kept the needles in. I know that might seem kind of weird, but I kept them in because I did see my opponent was playing Eldrazi, and Eldrazi Temple, so. Yet another Ancient Stirrings. Oh. So another needle. I hold off on that needle. So I already named Nissa so that my opponent wouldn't have an early play. Now I have both spell skites, so I can shut off one of the what's it called? Ulamogs. And I have this one on eye, so you can't search out another Ulamog. And now I have another needle, so I can doubly shut off Nissa. I figure it's better to shut off Nissa than Ulamog at this, or Eye of Yugen at this point. because of that Ghost Quarter, which, as you can see, I use Ghost Quarter on Temple. I have, Ghost Quarter's main, so those will help a lot. Here comes an Ulamog. Of course, opponent tries it. I redirect to Spellskite. Notice here, I saw somebody posting the other day about they have trouble getting to 3 mill rocks to solidify the lock. I do mill with just 1 mill rock. I will do it, as you just saw, because it will also allow me to dig deeper. If the chances are that I'll have a relevant card on top than my opponent, then yeah. So again, doing well. I'm not going to let my opponent draw that Creeping Corrosion. Really, the opponent's helping me thin out their deck now. Don't want my opponent to have Relic. Don't want my opponent to have Ancient Stirrings. Temple is just fine. So you can see I'm digging deeper and deeper, and as I dig deeper, I dig into more mill rocks, and it gets faster and faster. And I win. I mean, the lock is pretty solidified now. And game 3. Okay. I know it's risky, but I know that my opponent's Artifact Disruption is Creeping Corrosion. Aside from that, not much else. So I know I can first turn Gold Color Spell, second turn Inquisition, and third turn Duress, and I should be safe as far as getting rid of Artifact Destruction goes, or disrupting my opponent, slowing him down. Notice here my opponent did scry to 5, or mold to 5, so this hand is even better a little bit. But so anyways, opponent goes for super aggro plan. Turns out I don't have to do Glimmer Void first. It's safe to do Inquisition first. And pick off that Explorer, and opponent concedes, because chances are I'm going to set up the lock before they get anything going. I did play kind of slow this match. You notice I'm down to like 11-23. So, but yeah, it was a rough match trying to get around all those Ulamobs.